Okay, so I'm going to try and not make this last forever. I'm going to explain how padlight works for you, Katie. I have two controllers hooked up right now. I have my hitbox hooked up, which acts as a direct input controller. And I have a generic 360 pad, a rock candy that acts as an X input controller. And I have my phone that I need to mute while I make this tutorial. So let's do that. I'm just gonna let mistakes happen. Okay, so let's talk about padlight. I have an instance of it open right here, which right now is manifesting as a black bar, which isn't very helpful. K is where skins are located, so we'll use one of the ones that's a little more obvious. We'll use this generic hitbox thing I made. And D probably doesn't stand for devices, but that's what this are. This top device is my hitbox. So up, down, left, right. Punches, kicks, palm, select, start. So why does it know that? How does it know that? Etc. Down here is in the I menu are three options. This is your default global control scheme. I'm also gonna just maybe slide OBS over here. This is your default global control scheme. Every skin will use this layout. Now, this is the use the layout defined strictly for this skin option, meaning that if this is checked, it will ignore this and go to this. This is useful when you have specific skins for specific controllers with specific layouts and designs, like I do. For example, I have my really fancy Nintendo 64 skin I made. It makes sure that there's some bugs in the skin. Everything is mapped from my hitbox to what I want it to be, which I can demonstrate with two instances of padlight like I do on my stream, which, by the way, totally works. So hitbox 64. Up is up, down is down, left, right, start is start, B is B, A is A. We have R and Z. We have all four C buttons. We have L. We have home, which I applied a fancy effect to. Everything's here. My hitbox doesn't have enough inputs for a D-pad, so I actually have those mapped to my keyboard's numpad, just so you can see that they work. Up, down, left, right. That's a very cheap effect, and I'm sorry. Okay, so this actually doesn't explain a whole lot yet, but we're getting there. What I am now going to do is take this. I'm going to take a different skin, one I care a little bit less about. I have an old hitbox skin. Here's an old hitbox skin, which is going to be, is it mapped correctly still? No, this one's mapped all wrong. That doesn't matter. Okay, for this one I'm going to pick this other device. So the device is my 360 pad. So I'm on my rock candy now instead of my hitbox. It still lights up, but there's some differences. So I'm going to use the skin specific settings here to set these. This is up, down, left, and right, and then these are just your buttons as you wish to define them. So I'm going to do joy up, joy down, joy left, joy right. I'm going to do B, A, Y, X, L, R, start, select, R3, and L3. So this only leaves a few more buttons. I don't know what home works. I don't want to press it and find out. Oh, I'll press it. It did nothing. Okay, so home doesn't register. Left trigger does not register, and neither does right trigger, and neither does my right joystick. And it's because it's an X input controller. Padlight cannot handle analog inputs aside from the left joystick. from X input based controllers. I don't know why, and I'm sorry, and it sucks. That might be true for D input as well, but I don't have a D input controller with analog, so I can't test that. You can work around this. You can set numpad directions. So let's assume, actually let's do it this way. 7 and 9 will be L2 and R2. And then we will do the traditional up, down, left, right with 8, 2, 4, and 6. Using X pattern with some layout, doesn't matter. We're going to add a D-pad to it. Actually, no, we're not gonna do that. We'll do it in the form of a stick. We're gonna add a stick to left. This totally works, right? I probably don't have the right device assigned. Settings. No. Settings here. No. How do I tell it what device to use in Xpatter? That's a mystery. Controllers. As you see, I have a lot. Afterglow. Move up. Thanks. Okay, that's this controller. Now I understand. Create a new profile. I'm going to add a stick. Left, up. Okay, so now I have a stick. I add some triggers. Left trigger, right trigger. Really sick, really cool. So, 8, 4, 6, 2, 7, 8, or 9, sorry. Just as I set them over here. Now, this skin, if this skin is mapped, should have buttons for that. We'll light them up. It currently doesn't. But here's L and R for whatever they're mapped to. The stick isn't mapped to anything. I have to map them to something. This skin is hitbox. It's traditional hitbox. So let's understand how this skin works. By the way, this skin's design is deprecated in my opinion. So let's not go there. Key any is what you just set here. That's what this is. Pretty sure. 16, 17, 18, 19, something like that. Don't worry about it. The point is that ignore this skin any because it's the wrong one. Ignore a lot of these. Sorry. This skin any is the one that goes to this. It's the one that's in the hitbox skin folder. So currently when I press up, whatever is registered as up here, which is joy up, will spawn up.png based on the center of that picture at this position with the assumption that it is 100 by 100, which is actually not true. Actually, it is true, it looks like. Ignore that. So, up, that's up on a hitbox. Just, and up, left, and up, right. They have to be all defined as their own thing, as you can see here. So the way the rest of these are done is button 1 spawns at position 120, 30. So button 1 should be according to this. That would be B on my rock candy. Apparently I didn't set this up. B, B. Or I severely botched something. Wait, hold on. That was a little awkward. Settings. Okay. 2143. Yeah. So button 1, which spawns at 120, 30 is right there. Now this will make sense, but I'm going to show you a better way to do this. 20 pixels to the right of that is button 2, which would be A on my controller. Button 3 is 20 pixels back that way, but is vertically shifted downward. That would be this one. And then we'll go 20 pixels to the right again for button 4, which is this one. So, this is a really complex way of aligning all of them, and I think it's garbage. And I found a better way to do it, and I don't know if it's inefficient in terms of CPU usage, but it's definitely efficient in terms of designing a skin. And I somehow want to prove that the extra things I made work. So I'm going to try to do that. And where these will be buttons, what were those buttons? 9. Ooh. Oh yeah, I never defined start and select. Okay, so 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now, based on that, 7, 9, 11, and 12 are LT and RT. So, button 8 is currently, what is button 8? Button 8 is BAXYLR start select, or LNR. Where would button 8 be? Button 8 would be at 180. So if button 1 is at 120, and this one's at 140, this is at 120, this is at 140. These are going to be the ones at 160. Ones at 180 will be start and select currently. Looks like. So, what we want to do is put these in some obscure position just so you can see them. Let's just shift them down. Let's say 200, 210, and then save it. And the cool thing about padlight, load another skin. I'll load flow. We'll go back to hitbox. Okay. When I press left trigger, which happens to spawn 7, now it lights up. Right trigger is not on the map because I messed up. Let's put this at like 110 instead, just to move it around. Hitbox 64. Hitbox. Okay. Left trigger, right trigger, left trigger, right trigger, left trigger, right trigger, left trigger, right trigger. This is how you get X input analog things to show up in padlight. You have to use XPad or some more of the droid key, whatever. It's convoluted, I'm sorry. But it will help you understand the major flaw in padlight. So, now that I've went over the major flaw of padlight, I'll go over how to make skins that don't suck. So, because this was a really sucky skin to make, and I don't like it anymore. I like it, but, like, screw this skin really hard. Okay. And then I'll come back here. Actually, I will go back to my hitbox, and I will come back here and redo these. 2 up, down, left, Sometimes it doesn't want to register on mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Please stop being a jerk. Start, select, home. And then these don't exist, so down, left, right. Can I clear you? I don't think there's really a clear. I'll set you to something irrelevant. Left bracket. Okay. So, okay. Hitbox 64. Okay. Hitbox. So up, down, left, right. Ooh, these are kind of out of order. This is an old skin. Honestly, ignore this skin. But all the buttons light up as they should. So, there's no problems here. Let's move to a new skin. This is designed in a way that makes a lot more sense. Here's my Hitbox 64 skin. Up, down, left, right, A, B, R, Z, left C, down C, right C, up C, start, down, and home. Okay, everything here is normal. Let's leave this deprecated, badly designed skin. Talk about why this one is much better. If it's not already obvious, every image has exactly the same resolution except blank.png, which I actually don't need now that I'm looking at how this works, but whatever. Key any is still generated by the program, so ignore it. Open scan any. So we have the general. General has the background. This is my background. Let's just edit it in Paint. This is a color that I can chroma key out, and all of the buttons in their unpressed state. This is how I like to make my skins. Then we have up. I want you to notice something about the dimensions. The image is 540 by 360. It can be whatever dimensions you want. I actually don't know what animation weight and all that means exactly, so sorry. Now, up, down, left, right, up, left, down, right, all the standard stuff. Then buttons 1 through whatever, how many buttons you have, right? When I call up, which has been defined by key.any through the program's configuration, it spawns up.png. It knows that up.png is the exact same dimensions as the background. Holy. You can see it's in the same space. That's all the white space around it. The positioning is based on the center point of this image, not the corner. So, what I've done in order to place it, do not save, go away. What I've done is divide this in half and divide this in half to get my position. And then literally copy pasted it to every one of these. Okay, very simple. And then come in and put in each image. So what I do is I build this in Photoshop. In fact, I'll go ahead and open the PSD. Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry if this takes a minute. Me and my I'm gonna make a quick tutorial for Twitter in 720p, 1080p monitor, so that nobody can read anything. Reading Photoshop format. There's gonna be edits in this, and there's gonna be variations and layer styles that are disabled, and yeah. Anyways, this is not the right PSD, is it? No, this has got to be the right one. Folder, man. Did I save it in here? Let's find out. Punches, moves, this layer. That was a basis for shape. That was my old skin. That's my magenta background. That's my punches. That's my helm select and start. Where are my kicks at? Are they up here? Oh. Let's just start turning everything on. So you can see I have every element separated into pieces. I even have some adjustment layers like hue and saturation. So what I do is build the skin here. I build it like this. And then I use layer effects to get the alternate variations of everything, okay? Like strokes and let's say where's these are the arrows, here's the actual directions. Okay, actually these are the fonts. I need to group these better, I'm sorry. I'm very messy in Photoshop. It's gonna be the longest part of the video. You're better off using layer effects on entire groups, honestly. Anyways, the point here is I designed this all, and I designed it in pieces. And I designed it so that I could do things like this. Let's say I only want my hide all of these. Right, yeah. Hide that. Hide the thumb starts. Come to the punches layer. R is technically my medium punch. So now all I have is this, and I remove the magenta layer. And so I have the R in the exact position it would be in the base skin, and that's my Twitter that I opened. I'm smart. I have the R in the exact position it would be in the base skin. And then I save it like that. I save it like that with the effect that makes it look pressed, which is a color overlay on the button itself and on the R text, which I have way up here for whatever reason. I also apparently have a light stroke you can barely see and a color overlay, but small effects matter. So I hope that makes sense as to why I did it that way. I built the whole skin. In fact, I'll also show it to you with the N64 skin. No, I won't, because there's like 3 or 4 different PSDs in here. I'm not doing that. But you should see the same structure. See? Everything is in the relative place that it would be on here, so that when I make the glorified skin any, I don't have to worry about positioning. 300 by 300, 150, 150, 300, 300, 150, 150, 300, 300. Up, down, left, right. This is what you do so that you don't have to do a bunch of math to figure out where to place your assets. And don't ever try to edit key any on your own, because that's just don't. Don't. Let the program do it. Even though I showed you that you could translate the instructions to the page, I'm also going to be less of a jerk and go over them a little bit myself by what I know. I'm pretty sure that's close. All of this is like alpha scaling. This is stay on top. Like if you want that functionality, right? I don't use that as much anymore. OBS Studio doesn't even care if the windows are visible when you're doing this. That's padlight. And I hope this helps. It's 26 minutes of me explaining a bunch of shit. Goddamn.